9 questions every artist should answer, so you get to know me a little bit more and my story. So you ready? Happy birthday, and let's do this. Okay, happy birthday to me. This is my birthday video. Every year I've been doing a performance video. If you've been following me, you see my time-lapse videos or some videos that I do live. But this year I've been doing weekly videos of my process. So to make it a little bit special, I'm taking a pause from painting to answer some questions. So 9 questions every artist should answer, so you get to know me a little bit more and my story. So you ready? Question number 1, what is my background? So, when you're talking about a background, which you may not mean, but we'll get there. My background is, my mother was born in Cairo, Egypt. So I'm Egyptian. And her father was in the Palestine region. So all of that is like 50% Egyptian. Her mother was, her mother was a little bit Italian, so I have some Italian in my blood. My father was born in Ohio, crazy. He's German. I also have French. So that's my background. And there might be a couple mixes in there. So, but most of my influence is Egyptian, German. My last name is Blickensderfer, so it's very German. Fun fact, Schwarzenegger is the same number of letters as Blickensderfer. I haven't found another last name that beats it. So if you know a last name that's longer than 14 letters, let me know, because you'll beat mine, but I haven't found one. The second part to what my art background is probably the art side. So just some information about me. I guess if we want to categorize things, I would be self-taught. I was self-taught up until post-college, and then after college, I studied business and marketing, public relations, went through college, went through a career, and then I went and studied at the New York Studio School in New York City. I studied painting in the certificate program, and that was more of my rigorous studio training and painting training practice. But to go through a little bit in more detail of my love of art and how it evolved in my life, middle school was my first venture in the arts and in business. So my first entrepreneurial gig, I would say, or venture. I would go to Michael's Arts and Crafts. I would get birdhouses and I'd paint the birdhouses and go around the neighbors with my dad. I'd ask him to go with me because I was very little. And I would paint the birdhouses and sell them to my neighbors. And then I got a little savvy and I was like, what's your favorite sports team? And I'd paint and I'd make requests like UF, USF, FSU, college teams. I'd paint the birdhouses certain colors, and then I would go around and sell them. And that was my first art business. So that was exciting. And then I would also, in elementary school, draw comic strips, and I would draw people and tell stories in comic books, and I'd staple together. It'd be pen, like storyboarding kind of comic strips, and I would just do that for fun. So it would evolve, and then I took classes in middle school, like pottery and clay. So I was always using my hands, and it wasn't until college I studied drawing and painting, and I was, exploring with painting, very abstract, very free expression, and that was my first venture before I went to study for the arts. So that's a little bit of my background in the arts. What does my art aim to say? That's a great question. It's always evolving. It's always changing, but it's me. It's my story. I'm a woman. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. So that is embedded and engraved and translated into my work. A lot of my work is about inspiring women, inspiring myself, hoping that it would also inspire others because I want to be inspired. So you got that alter ego of like the powerhouse woman, the story of that narrative. Nature is hugely inspired in my work. Spirit, being close to God, resonates with me, heals me. So nature is deeply moved. Color is, you know, being a colorist, color is completely keys to the way I want to talk. It's my narrative, it's who I am. It's evolving and changing as we change as human beings. It wants to tell a story. It's about, you know, my cultures, my German roots, my Egyptian roots. What does that mean? And I want to inspire other women because I want to be inspired. So it's more uplifting. I also like to look at master paintings that inspire me and re-examine it and with my imagination and express a story or a narrative through that. So that's more in a nutshell what my current work aims to say. Next question, my biggest influences. Who influences you? And I think that's evolved. It always changes seasonally. Other artists, I look at other artists and I'm inspired. Current, present, and past artists. I would say abstract expressionist artists, French artists, impressionists, the impressionist period, and all those artists and very much influence my work. I put a few things of German artists that recently influenced my work too, because my story as I study and I learn completely changes. I'm talking about the German side and my French side, and all of these are influences. Obviously, if you want me to name drop, but I don't want to be tied to it because it flows as my, you know, work evolves. But Van Gogh, I just went to his immersive exhibit or experience that I recommend. It's so amazing to see technology and art connecting and creating such amazing experiences. So it's so exciting to see. That's what I love about entrepreneurship, the technology and the advancements, and, you know, bringing a master painter to the forefront in a new and exciting way. But besides that, you know, Rembrandt, Picasso, obviously, Hodgkin, living artist, Karen Black, John Marin, Sam Messer, Albert Oehlen is a huge German artist that influences my work. Purvis Young is he's passed, but an artist that influences my work currently. Gauguin, Paul Gauguin, Manet. I mean, the list goes on and on. That's just a few. I have a notebook, and at the beginning I always leave room for influences because I study them and look at their work, you know, in between while I'm painting, to just keep things stimulating, keep learning, keep evolving. Taking outside of art, like, you know, icons like Cleopatra would be a huge influence in my work. Evolving with that connection as like an alter ego type of influence. So those are just a few of my influences. Like I said, it's evolved so much, and it's exciting. I love learning new artists, connecting with my, you know, former New York studio school and learning those artists, and, you know, networking and being influenced by others in my community, not just the past master painters, but current living artists. Yes, question number 4. How do you seek out opportunities? Okay, how do I seek out opportunities as an artist? I've trialed and errored, but I learned to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to be myself. Everyone's different. We all have insecurities. We're all confident. We're all secure, but we also have insecurities. And, you know, it's not going to be fake. You want to be yourself, and use that to leverage unique opportunities. Art calls are obvious. And when you go to other art shows that you're not in, I think that's a great thing to network, because you network with gallerists, curators, collectors, and that's how I seize opportunities. By going to shows, being active in my community. A lot of my current work, though, is out of the state. So I do a lot through messaging, through social media. In the beginning, when I was just trying to find my way through the art world, I would contact other artists, collaborate with them, ask to interview them because I had some marketing background. So I would interview them and ask them questions about them in their studio just to get to know them, and that's how I would network. And through that, opportunities came. That's how JADA formed, because I networked with my co-founder Jonatas and in Miami, and now today we have an art organization called DANA-BLICKENSDERFER. You don't just stop with no's, you keep applying. Not only do you apply, you go support other artists, you act interested, and you should be authentically interested in other works, other artists. Try not to compete. There's no competition. We're all of our paintbrush to hand is so uniquely different. There's only one you, and there's only one way you can express yourself. So there's no other you. So there's no way, you shouldn't feel competition. It is a very competitive space. But if you go in with the right mindset and the right heart, you'll win in the end, through opportunities and through kindness, through social media, through talking and messaging people on social media. Those are ways today that I leverage and seek opportunities in the art. Question 5, how do you navigate yourself in the art world? That's interesting. I did a lot of reading in the beginning because I started self-taught, right? So I read several books on the art world, just understanding the underground art world, the collectors, the more the corporate side, to the art fairs, to the art auction houses. So I learned all of it, the buyers, the collectors, what does it all mean, who positioned what, the dealers. And as you assess and learn, it kind of all just processes. And to navigate it, myself, it's important to not just follow trends. Sometimes, in marketing, something's trendy and you should paint to sell. You shouldn't do that. Sometimes I fight myself to do that, but you shouldn't. You should just create your work that is your voice and is your message, and the people will come because it's passionate. Other people will connect to it because you're being yourself. So when I'm representing myself in the art world, I try to do that. Navigating by learning and reading and talking to dealers, collectors, buyers, other people, learning and studying is the way I navigate. But a lot of it is through bridging the gap on social media. Messaging people, using emails, getting their phones, texting them, asking them for a cup of coffee. Hey, I just wanted to grab a cup of coffee. Museum directors, some people may not have the opportunity to even talk to them, but if you have a platform like social media, you have an influence, or you started a podcast, you're like, hey, I have this podcast, it's about art. I'd love to talk to you and sit down and grab a cup of coffee. Just talk about you, learn about you, and it's a way for them to have a platform to talk about themselves, and a way for you to learn more about the art world and navigate your way through it. So yes, I read, I use social media, I use marketing platforms like podcasting and blogs and other formats like video to get in the door with other collectors, buyers, directors, and learn and talk and just be generally interested. And that's how you navigate and learn and make your way through the art world. Question number 6, must-haves in the art studio. Okay, so I must have my little puppy. He keeps me entertained. I use him as a study also in my references. I'm working on a painting with him right now, as you can see. So I love to have him in my studio. Music, gotta have music. Sometimes I watch TV, but I try not to. My books, my every time I go to a museum, I go to an exhibit, I grab a book of that exhibition. So I have that in my studio, and I pull references to draw. A must-have books, coffee, wine, depends on the time of day. Books, coffee, wine, my dog, music. Lighting is must. Great lighting. This is on a light. So lighting is everything. What else is a fun fact? Yeah, I think that's it. Those are definitely essential in my studio. 7, what is a fun fact about you? A fun fact about me is every time I go to a big museum exhibition, I like to come back with one of the books. So I go to the museum bookstore and I have to have the book. 30 bucks, 40 bucks. I have to have the book of the exhibition, who curated it, and I have to have that information. And I have this bookshelf of all the books from the museum exhibition. And for me, that is my connection, because sometimes being an artist, I feel very isolated in my studio. You feel very alone. But when I grab the books, I feel like I'm with my friends and I feel so connected to, like, I go back to that moment. I go back to looking at the art. I go back to that connection of why I'm doing this, and it's truly inspiring. It lifts me up. And that's a fun fact that gets me going and gets me revved up and really connects me to past and present artists, and truly is a fun fact that I hope you do too. If you do it, let me know, because I tell people that I feel like, you know, the Van Gogh and going to that is my friend, and we connect in that artist level that you can't connect with certain people on. And I love to bring that back into my studio and have those moments while I'm creating my work. Question number 8, what is a current life hack? Okay, so life hack right now, to be honest, is my projector. So my projector is my best friend. And I know, you know, going to the prestigious schools, doing it the way that you're supposed to be, but sometimes if, cause I, you know, work with many businesses, I have a tight schedule, I travel a lot, I use a projector to kind of place maybe a figure or a certain setting on the canvas sometimes, and it gets me started. It gets everything proportioned, and it kind of not rushes the process, but helps me make the studio time as efficient and effective as possible. So yes, so projector right now is my current life hack. I'm currently working on reimagining the birth of Venus. For Venus, these are my references. Sometimes it's okay. It's okay sometimes to have some hacks along the way. Question number 9, what advice would I give other artists currently today? Three advices that I would give other artists is don't compete. As you get older, or as we evolve, it's a tendency to compete and to look on Instagram and social media and fall for the, oh my God, they're exhibiting here, or they're exhibiting here, they must be doing something right, what am I not doing? No, that's false. That just puts you in a negative mindset. You have to not compare. You just have to focus on you. Only batch social media for like 2 or 1 hour a day. Don't get lost and go down the rabbit hole and lose yourself to that. You have to really be disciplined and use it for networking and connecting and to learn and for the positive things, and not get sucked into a warp. So that's something I would advise, you know, being more disciplined on social media, using it for good and not evil, and not comparing. Advice tip I would give artists is to get out of your comfort zone. Started doing performance art in Square. I did it in Central Park. There were many places where I just put myself in the moment, had to put my iPhone camera up, turned it around, started painting, and just see what happens. And those are the great experience. I was very uncomfortable. I'm like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna create? But it created such a great experience for me, for the viewer, for the moment of that work creating itself. I would put myself in as many uncomfortable situations so you can grow as an artist, so you can listen to your audience and hear what they're saying and learn about what they think about your work so you can get better. So those helped me, and I want to encourage you to step out of your comfort zone, whether it's performing, doing improv, forcing yourself to talk to 5 people at an opening exhibition that you don't know. Get out of your comfort zone, and it forces you to grow as an artist and in your art career. The last tip I would advise is taking business courses. How to run a business and you want to be taken seriously and you want to be a working artist, you need to know the practical business side of operating your business, finances, creating a profit and loss. How do I create a brand? And how do I brand myself without staying authentic, but showing, you know, that I'm evolving and developing? Maybe do products, maybe have my art go on shirts and coffee mugs, and try new things for my younger collectors. So there's many avenues, and I think studying the business side or learning the business side is just as important as painting to grow your career and your art business. That's all for today. It's my birthday, so I hope we took a little perspective, a little bit different this year. I usually paint in the studio, but since we do those weekly videos, you see me painting every week. So I thought it'd be fun to answer these questions that you have, that every artist maybe should answer in their studio. And if you do, please message me your thoughts on these questions below. Subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next video. Happy birthday, 33!